A lot of the messages that I've been receiving lately and a lot of the emails that I've had have correlated a lot with temptation and a lot of having to do with not just resisting temptation, but to discipline our temptations. And a lot of men that are watching my channel are going through a phase where they are recovering from corn addiction, and I don't want to say the actual word on YouTube just because of the algorithm stuff, but a lot of people are going through corn addictions and they're trying to get over these hurdles. And then other times there are people that are losing weight or that are on the path to losing weight, that are recovering from a lot of the gluttonous activities that they've had. And then some are recovering alcoholics, and some are recovering from addictions to relationships as well. And so I want to make a video about temptation today, and I want to make a video regarding how temptation actually reveals to us and helps us admit to ourselves what we still need to work on. Whenever you have a temptation, it is likely that you are needing to work on that thing in your life that you are, like, there's a reason you're tempted by it, right? There's a reason that you're tempted to succumb to that desire. But I also, before I go any further, I want to encourage you to like and comment on the video, and then also subscribe if you haven't already, if you support content like this. With that being said, let's go ahead and further on in the video. So really, temptations can actually, and resisting temptations and disciplining temptations can actually do us a lot of good. It's almost like putting money on a stock, and you're assuming that as the stock goes up, so does your discipline. Whereas if your stock goes down, you're losing the discipline. And you're also succumbing to the temptation. So when your stock goes up, you have a more valuable increase in the amount of money that you invested, right? It's the same thing with your discipline and in your desires. The more that you invest in your discipline, the more you're going to see that stock go up. And the purpose of this is to really get at the root of your temptation. If you don't understand the root of your temptation, you're not going to be able to invest properly into disciplining your temptations. And so you can resist something for quite some time, but if you suddenly feel a urge to act on this desire, you're going to likely succumb to that desire, right? So what do you do? How do you move forward from these things? And don't get me wrong, as long as we are alive on this earth, we're going to have temptations in one way or another. I don't think it's going to be ever possible that we don't live with temptations, because we're human beings, and there are going to be certain things that we are going to be drawn to no matter what. For example, one of the things that I've been dealing with a lot recently is disciplining lust. For some reason, within the past few days, my sex drive has just been full speed ahead, and I don't know what exactly shifted in that time period, but all I know is that I've had a lot of spiritual attacks with lust recently. And my assumption is that it's probably because I've been so disciplined in it for nearly a year now that I haven't, and I've been on semen retention for nearly a year. So I'm assuming that based off of the data that I've collected and the research that I've done into my own journaling over the past few months, I can see certain patterns start to form through time, right? And I can start to see when certain things happen in my life, when certain changes are happening, that's when certain kind of spiritual attacks are going to strike. And that's where certain temptations are going to be put before me. And don't get it twisted, I don't want to miss a beat on this video. Sometimes God will place temptations in your vicinity and in your path to test you, to see whether or not you are truly capable of moving forward to the next level. The temptations that I've received recently with lust are more so like I'm done with corn. I don't even have a desire to ever watch it ever again. I've completely uprooted that desire. But my desire for sexual relationships obviously is still there. And even if you're going to have a monk mode lifestyle on semen retention as a man, and if you're celibate as a woman, you're still going to have like bodily desires for these things, right? You're still going to be drawn to certain things, and like there's going to be instances where men or women are going to flirt with you depending on who you are, a male or female. And if you're a woman and you're going in celibate mode and you're just trying to stay on your spiritual path, you may be drawn to this man, but you may also hopefully have the vision and insight to see more into what you're truly wanting to invest in the long run. And if you're a male, honestly, at this point for me, the hardest thing about my position that I'm in right now is that I have an abundance of choice, which is great. I was never in this position when I was 200 pounds, when I was drinking and smoking. I was never in this position. And now I'm in the position to where I get to choose, really, who do I pursue. But my biggest issue right now, and likely your biggest issue if you are in monk mode or you're trying to be a righteous or live a righteous lifestyle in which you're going to only have a pure, true, authentic relationship with one person, and that's your goal, you're likely in a position to where you it's almost like hard to discern whether someone's worth your time to pursue or not. Because at this point, like, let's be real, men, to ask for a virgin nowadays is like, it's going to be very difficult to find someone that is a virgin in the society that we live in. And I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware that I can live with the fact that she's had a few sexual partners. I can live with that because I've seen the data on what happens. But I also have to realize that we're not going to be getting a woman that is perfect, because I'm not perfect either. And I have a past just as much as anybody else. But the thing is that it's going to be very challenging for us to know who is worth pursuing. And so also, if you're going through a time where you're trying to lose weight, and I know what it's like to get off sugar, man. Like I know I was addicted to sugar at one point in time, and it was very difficult for me to not eat brownies and ice cream and to actually lose the weight. It was very difficult for me, even though I've always been a sports person. I've always been very active. I like being active. I always have been, but there were just times in my life where I was overweight and I was still active, but I would eat like shit afterward. Like There would be literally times where I'd be playing racquetball or basketball in my early 20s, and then afterward I would go to Panda Express and, consume a bunch of terrible calories and fake chicken, and it wasn't real. It's not real food. So the rice is okay, but even so, like if you're trying to lose weight, a lot of the times carbs aren't going to be the way to go. But then also I would be drinking and smoking, and I haven't had a sip of alcohol for, actually, I don't even remember the last time I had a sip of alcohol. Probably September, October last year. And even then, like, it was like a glass of wine. The last time I've gotten drunk was probably 2021, 2022. So it's been a couple years, almost maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And then when I stopped smoking in July last year. And this was part of my retention journey. When you start retention, like there just are certain things that start to fall off, that you start to give up, that is in service to the Most High. And for me, smoking, drinking, lust, and really bad eating habits were the main things for me to go through. And I don't think it's any coincidence that a lot of the people watching these are sharing similar experiences, because if you're watching this now, you're going to have that kind of same experience. But really, what we can do best to make sure our stock goes upward in discipline is to make sure that we stay humble, and to make sure that we have humility, and to make sure that we do get at the roots of these problems. The root of my lust was mainly due to the fact that a lot of the times in my relationships with women, I wanted to feel validated. I wanted to make her feel like she's validated. But that isn't always a healthy approach when it becomes excessive. And that was me a long time ago. And it's almost like you still have to reprogram certain subconscious things, and the devil is going to try to come back into your life to give you this 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 girl in looks who's probably, who may be of a certain level and be on your level for you, but at least looks wise, but and what you want, but she's kind of crazy and she's very promiscuous, and I don't want to have any kind of sexual relationships with women that are promiscuous anymore. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I would rather have one girl that wants to be promiscuous with me and me only. She only wants to be promiscuous with me. And that it would be my ideal situation, in my preferred situation. But as far as the alcohol and the smoking and everything and the eating, like, it was, for me, it was just an escape from my own sadness, my own misery, my own sorrows. And it turned out to be a complete waste of time on my part to go through those things, because in the end, I would just get a headache from the drinking, and I wouldn't really like the way I felt for like 2 or 3 days after anyway. And for the smoking, yeah, there were times where it felt pretty good, but I didn't even want to consider these things anymore, because it was just like, I would rather be me. I want to be Thaddeus. I want to be who I am. And my creativity over the past almost year as well has been far more, it just feels more authentically me, and it just feels more who I'm meant to be. And so, really, that's the main message for today, guys. I hope this message was insightful, and I hope this message was useful. And if anybody's interested in any consultations or anything like that, please email me down in the link below. And until next time, peace be with you.